So today what I'm going to talk about is just a general overview of travelers insurance, the construction market update, at least what I see. And let me introduce myself formally. I manage the underwriting team at Travelers Construction, so we have 5 underwriters that work with me, and we write moderate size to large, very large contractors in the Chicagoland area. We also have risks countrywide. So as a national carrier in the construction department, we handle multi-state risk. That's our forte, but we do have a local presence. So I just want to introduce myself. I've been in the industry 23 years. Construction, always in construction. I started my career in claim, workers' comp, so I've seen, $1 million work comp claims. I see complex GL claims. And then I moved over to underwriting, so I could sit here all day and tell you stories, claim stories, underwriting stories, but I have 15 minutes to go through my presentation. And what I like about today too is just talking to the other presenters. We're going to kind of tie in together. Everything we all do ties together, so I'm looking forward to this. So I'll start with an insurance overview about Travelers, then the market, like what I see, and then our appetite. And then one of the things Jose really wanted me to touch on is what makes a submission stand out. So I'm going to spend some time there, and then just highlight some of the risk control services we offer at Travelers. On this slide, you'll see our team here locally. That's the one thing I want to stress about Travelers. We're a national carrier, but we're local in every office. So if any of our contractors calls us and says, we're going to Iowa next week, can you write in Iowa? Yes, we're filed in 50 states. So, but this is our local team. If you become a client with Travelers, this is who you would work with. And we're all in Chicago or Downers Grove. So high level about Travelers, we're a very strong conservative carrier, very strong financial rating, and we've become the largest writer of workers' comp insurance in the country. 160 years in business. Like I said, national strength. We could write business in all country or states, and local presences. So we also have global capacity. If you work in a different country, we have that as well. And we're the only carrier on the Dow Jones. But what I want to stress is the local execution that we have, the local team, and how we partner with our clients. So construction market update. Excuse me. You're going to hear this a lot probably in the industry. Data centers are like the big boom nowadays. I think in McHenry County, there's going to be a lot of data centers being built, so a lot of our contractors are trying to bid that work. When you need data centers, you also need solar power, or you need some type of energy, so there's even more. So not just the data center building itself, it's the infrastructure around it that is also needed. So what we see is a lot of build out for private clients, law firms, healthcare is still spending money in buildings, so we see a lot of work in that space. You probably heard about the lead pipe replacement. The state of Illinois is giving municipalities a lot of money for lead pipe replacement. I live in Brookfield. We're replacing 6,000 lead pipes. So sewer water, underground utility is very busy right now. And the energy infrastructure, so think solar panels, wind farms, there's a lot of work with that because you have to power these data centers. So we see a lot of activity there. We also see a lot of contractors getting bought out by private equity. There's especially around the energy space. So you'll see a lot of contractors being approached by private equity, and I've never seen as much activity in my career with this space. So that's something that's new in the marketplace. Travelers is a very data-heavy company. We track data across everything, even when I go to the bathroom. I mean, they have so much data. We track payrolls. In 2025, the payrolls for our book, for all of our contractors, was about 2%, up 2%. So when we write a policy and your policy expires, we send out audit. Audit will audit your file to determine if your payrolls are up for the year or down for the year, and you either owe or we return premium. It's up 2%, which is kind of flat. So that tells me, it's not bad. It's not -5, right? It tells me contractors are still holding steady. Another concern in the marketplace is legal system abuse and nuclear verdicts. I'm going to talk about auto and umbrella here, but There are private equity firms buying law firms, and there's just a ton of wealth and resources being put into these law firms, and they have the resources to bring everything to litigation. Where in the past, an auto claim was, $50,000, but now it's litigated, and they have the resources, and they could hire more lawyers and have more time. That claim's now $100,000 or $150,000. So that's a big problem for us, and not just Travelers, but all carriers. Nuclear verdicts are, the amount of losses we're paying over $10 million is substantial, and it's more than ever. So just want to point that out. Which brings me to the auto and umbrella. These are two lines going into 2026 that, as a carrier, we have to get rate on. Think of the auto, a bumper 5-10 years ago was maybe $1,000. Now you have everything with sensors and backup cameras, and a bumper is now $3,000 to $5,000. So, and there's a lot more rear ending because people are still on their phones, right? It's a fact, like people are still distracted. So the auto environment and insurance across all carriers is very poor. We have to continue to get rate, which leads into the umbrella. You have a large auto loss, it feeds into the umbrella. Your auto limit's $1 million. You have a substantial auto claim, and we're paying out $5, $10, $15 million auto claims routinely into the umbrella. So, and as a construction company, if you only have a $5 million umbrella or $10 million umbrella and the losses over that, it could put a company out of business. So something to keep in mind. So for 2026 as well, we have to get umbrella rate. So think of $1, like we collect $1 of premium, and we're paying out $1.10 in losses. So there's absolutely no profit in auto across the industry for carriers. In the Southeast, where it's very litigious, it's $1.40. So every dollar of premium we collect on auto, we're paying $1.40 out the door for losses. So Florida, Georgia, you got Morgan & Morgan law firm, like they have all the advertising in the world, and they're attacking through social media. They're just very prevalent down in the Southeast, and very poor auto environment down there. Work comp and GL lines are pretty much flat, maybe 5% for social inflation. Social inflation meaning the cost of litigating a claim is going up. So we need just a little bit of premium there, but for the most part, those lines are holding steady. So Travelers' approach to the industry is, I want to talk about like construction agents and brokers. You have so many choices when you choose a broker. As a construction unit, that's all I do is construction. We prefer to work with a construction-specific producer. Why? If you see a doctor, right, your doctor could probably help you, but you need a specialist, right? So why not see a doctor that could specialize in your illness? Same with insurance. I think a construction-specific broker or agent is proactive, not reactive. I can't tell you how many times on a Friday I'm getting, they're looking for me. It's 4:30 in the afternoon. Oh my God, Tony, where were you? I'm trying to call you. I'm bidding a job Monday morning. I need a USL&H rate. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Everyone's gone. I can't pull the rate. I have to go to somebody in California 2 hours behind. By the way, how long have you known about this? A construction producer would have known this weeks in advance. We would have been proactive. There would be no stress. There's also, oh my God, I need additional insurance. I'm not getting paid for this job. Well, how long have you known about that? I could have gave you the form weeks ago. Like now you're chasing me down, stressing me out, but we get it done. But just think of a construction-specific producer having the expertise and having that three-legged stool analogy I use is the broker, the carrier, and the client. When one of the legs breaks, the stool falls, and our goal is to be a partner. So just want to highlight that we tailor our programs to your company specifically. If there's pain points or exposures you have, we try and identify them and help you mitigate loss. We're able to write guarantee cost programs. Guarantee cost meaning first dollar. You pay $100,000 for premium. If you have $1 million in losses, that's all you pay in. We also have loss responsive programs available where you have a high deductible per claim, $100,000, $500,000 per claim, but those are for larger jumbo accounts. But Travelers has 23 business units that write the various businesses. We only focus on construction. That's all we do in my unit. So what makes the submission stand out? Accord apps, of course, those are industry standard applications where you put your exposures, your company names, or if you don't have Accord apps, you have an exposure workbook. Usually it's a spreadsheet with all your information. So we gather that data and we feed it into our rating system. The name insured list is very important because if you have multiple companies, a lot of contractors will have a company that's leasing back vehicles back to their company for tax reasons, or they own property, they have different companies as a name insured. Great, wonderful, we'll insure them, just tell us what they're doing, please. And are they combinable? So we will ask what your name insureds are. A work in progress. What are you doing? Where are you doing it? What type of work are you doing? We want to see that. Are you doing residential? Are you doing commercial? Residential presents a little bit more of exposure for us, but we do ask for a work in progress list, very important for us. The experience mod worksheet is important. On your workers' comp, there's an organization called NCCI that promulgates your mod, and 1.0 is the baseline. We want to see that because it feeds into our work comp rating. And then if you're a contractor, union contractor, you get the contractor's credit. If your mod's 1 or under, you are eligible for a credit on your workers' comp. Very important for us is the driver's list. You know, we run MVRs, that's how we underwrite auto. Are your drivers heavy speeders, or do you have some DUIs? You know, we're really drill on the auto list nowadays. A copy of your executed subcontract agreement, not a blank one. It has to be executed. We want to see what you actually use with your subs, and we're going to underwrite that agreement. If you have a poor agreement, it's a lot of risk for us on the GL side to help mitigate and lower cost on a GL claim. Currently value loss runs, 5 years plus expiring if possible. That's how we price accounts. We take the history of your risk, use industry data, we use our data, and we determine a price. The past is important. A lot of times we get loss runs that are old. If they're a year old, they're not going to be credible. We want more recent because we want to see if losses from a year ago maybe trended upward. That impacts our pricing. So very important to have loss runs, currently value loss runs. A copy of your safety manual and your fleet safety manual, those are important. Nowadays, the lawyers, especially in Cook County and various other jurisdictions, if you don't have a fleet safety manual and you get into an auto accident and the lawyer gets involved, they're going to go to court and say, "Where's your fleet safety manual, Mr. Contractor? Where is it? You didn't have one? Oh my God!" And the jury's going to be like, "They didn't have a fleet safety program." The claim just goes up exponentially. And then we ask questions. We try to make the process easy. We have to underwrite. We're underwriting high severity business. All contractors are going to have claims. If you see a contractor without a claim, I raise an eyebrow, right? You're going to have claims. It's a high severity business. How do you price and make a profit on a business that just has large losses, complex GL losses? So we do ask for a lot of information, and then we go out and do a risk control pre-inspection as part of our process. But what makes a submission stand out, again, is if you're with a construction-focused broker or agent, that's very helpful. And if you're with an agent where we have a big partnership with, that sticks out even more. Underwriters they could get 20 submissions a week. Some go on the bottom of the pile, it's just a fact. Like, there's only so much time and resource we have. Other times, submissions go on the top of the pile. If Jose's got a big book with us, he calls me right away. We both show enthusiasm. That goes to the top of the pile. So just keep that in mind. And we get it. Contractors are very focused on pricing, and we understand that. Like, we want to give you the best price. But at the end of the day, it's a high severity business, and we do the best we can. So let's say your submission sticks out. We write your business. At Travelers, we have risk control capabilities. I'll briefly go through these. We have innovative solutions. I think we have a vendor that's contracted, that's going to present. They're contracted with us, but we use various technologies to help mitigate loss. The whole goal from Travelers is to try and help you have less claims. Like, yeah, we want to make $1, but we also want you to be safe. We want you to have a good reputation. We want to protect your business and your staff as much as possible. So we have these resources to help do that. And, these are just some of the resources we have. Some of the things we focus on is if you're a general contractor and we rate your business, I'm just going to use one example. There's a long list here. The one I want to point out is if you're a general contractor, you move the travelers, we'll do a risk transfer review. We'll go to your office and do an audit. It's a friendly audit. It's not a bad thing. People think audit, it's bad. We go into your office, we look at your job files, we look at your contracts, and then we write a letter and summarize what we saw that was great and what could be worked on to help mitigate claims. Every contractor we've done this for, in the beginning, they're cautious about it, they're leery, and then when it's done and it's over, they love it. Just one example. Again, we have all these resources here. And then when you write your account with Travelers, you get a ton of online safety resources, pre-job files, fleet information, ergonomics, you name it. So very robust online portal for our contractors. And that's all I have from Travelers. I appreciate you letting me come here, Jose. Thank you.